Okay. Hi, everybody. My name is Jason. I'm Technical Service Manager here with Leary Company. Today, I'm going to give you some training and a tutorial on our Monet user interface, basically our gluing and detection software. Our last two screens are glue pressure screens, and these are pretty simple. You have two hot melt tanks. I believe your hot melt tank for valves 1 through 4 is running a fugitive glue or a sticky tacky glue, and then your last 4 glue valves, which are on your second hot melt tank, which is our second pressure screen here, are using a permanent hot melt adhesive. So your pressures might not be exactly the same, but what's important to understand about this graph that you're looking at, so I'm on hot melt tank number 1, or GRU1. GRU stands for glue regulation unit, okay? And what this screen is basically showing us is just a graph that has the speed reference at the bottom of the graph and the glue pressure on the left-hand side of the graph. So we have speed and pressure, and then we kind of have these 3 set points. And we can add or remove set points. So we can add additional set points if we ever felt like we needed them. We showed you that in the system menu with the manager access. But if I actually touch any one of these set points, it shows me where that set point is on the graph. So it shows me what speed reference that set point is at, and at that speed, what pressure am I asking for? Okay, so my first set point is basically 0 to 5 meters per minute. And in that speed range, I'm asking for 20 PSI. One thing that's important to understand about this is you're not looking on this screen at glue pressure. You're actually looking at the air pressure going into the tank. So we're actually regulating air pressure to the tank. We are not actually reading the actual glue pressure coming out of the tank. We're just referencing the commanded air pressure going into the tank. The tank itself is approximately a 14.5 to 1 ratio. Okay. So what you see here is actually the 0 to 80 PSI maximum. That's why it says maximum pressure 80 PSI, because that's the maximum amount of air pressure we allow to feed the pump inside the hot melt tank. All right. Obviously, more pressure means more glue. You can manipulate these set points however you wish. So the second set point here represents 45 meters per minute, and at that speed, I'm asking for 45 PSI of glue. I can manipulate it. I can change it. Let's say I found out that that's too much glue at that speed. I can change it to 30. And you can see that set point just dropped down. Now it's more of a gradient curve now, or linear curve. Now it's more set up to where as I'm increasing the pressure incrementally as I increase the speed. So they kind of follow each other now in a slope. In fact, that's what this little icon down here does. It takes your first, even if I were to put this back where it was, I put that back at 45. All right, so this little icon here, what it basically does is it takes your first set point and your last set point, and it puts all your set points in between in a nice straight curve. And it'll even ask you, it'll prompt you, do you want to make the pressure curve straight? You can hit yes, and now it's a straight linear curve. Now, a straight curve like that may not be ideal for everybody. There might be applications out there where the straight curve isn't the most ideal. In fact, the way it was is how you guys originally had yours. It was 45 and 45. But it is completely adjustable. We do get questions from time to time on, what is an ideal pressure curve? There's no way of knowing unless we, can test your glue. So this is really glue viscosity dependent. The makeup of the glue ultimately kind of affects or depends on what pressure is needed to apply, the correct or the bead that you're expecting to get. The little white bubble is basically where we're at. So if I go home, you can see I'm currently running at 71 meters per minute on the home screen. If I go back to my pressure screen towards the end here, that's kind of what this is representing. It's representing that 71 meters per minute speed. The other thing you can do on your pressure screen is if you wanted to just incrementally increase or decrease the pressure by a little bit, you can do that. So there's this giant plus and minus key on the right-hand side of the pressure graph. Every touch of the plus or the minus increases or decreases all three set points by 5 psi. So your entire graph moves up or down 5 psi with every touch of the plus or minus. In the bottom of the actual pressure screen itself, the GRU1 screen, you can actually see the actual pressure. So that's the actual commanded pressure that we're sending to the tank. Okay, so that's 45. If I hit the plus one time, you can see it goes up to 51. Hit the minus, you can see it goes down to 40, back to 45, 46. You do have a global volume learn button here. So we taught you how to, when on a gluing and detection screen, once you have your glue detection amplifier set properly and you're not, your peak gain is not going all the way to 10, you're at the 6 or 7th LED from the top, we know it's then safe to go ahead and learn your base volume. Well, once you have all your detection sensors set up, you can actually learn the base volume for all glue detection sensors with one button. And that's on the pressure screen, the GRU screen. We do have what's called a dump output, but it is not used in your application. We do not use the dump output in your app. That's for cold glue systems only, not hot melt tanks. It won't do anything if you touch it.